I'm Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the 2022 Infiniti Q60 Red Sport I-Line ProACTIVE all-wheel drive. And I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from London Infiniti. That has a fantastic location, welcoming atmosphere, beautiful showroom, and who offers some of the most luxurious and elegant vehicles on the road today, including this one. Now, the Q60 came out for the 2017 model year and is the successor to the famed G37, and also shares an engine, platform, and other performance pieces with the exciting new Nissan Z. And both that G37 and exciting new Nissan Z also share a common enthusiast appeal, making both vehicles Infiniti and Nissan's flagship cars. So, similar to Mustang for Ford, or Corvette for Chevy, or 911 for Porsche, essentially they are loss leaders designed to get you and me to flock into the showroom to plunk down a deposit on an SUV cash cow just to be part of it. So, we take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the 2022 Infiniti Q60 Red Sport to see if nostalgia is enough to overcome an aging platform and the ever-increasing performance of its German rivals. So let's take a look. And the Q60 is Infiniti's luxury sport coupe offering in the lineup, and the Red Sport makes it that flagship vehicle. Now, the ProACTIVE is going to give you essentially that active safety suite and a few other things like seatbelt pretensioners and adaptive headlights and things like that. However, it's a package deal with that drive-by-wire steering. Now, it's a second generation model, but it still may be a deal breaker for some. But that base model Red Sport still does offer that enthusiast hydraulic steering that everyone loves, just minus those safety features. Now, both Red Sport versions are also going to give you a lot more luxury features, things like power folding mirrors. You're going to get the Bose upgraded surround sound system. You have your sunroof, better camera, seats with memory, things like that. Basically all the other stuff that I've written here. Now, also, when we're looking at that base model, you're going to come into around 51,695 Canadian plus fees and taxes, and you get all the way up to 69,795 for something like this ProACTIVE Red Sport here. It's about $2,000 cheaper for that base Red Sport as well. Now, essentially, it is a really good deal, especially when you're looking at base models compared to the competition. So let's talk competition. Now, you're looking at something like the BMW 440i or the Audi S5 coupes, and essentially they're going to be about the same straight line speed as this, probably a little bit better in the corners, better tech, but you're also going to pay dearly for it. So let's talk performance. And all versions of the Q60 use the 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 with 300 horsepower, but when you get the Red Sport versions, they bump it up 100 horsepower to 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing this 3,900 pound elegant head turner from 0 to 60 in around 4.5 seconds, or about 13.3 in the quarter mile. And you are looking around 21 miles to the gallon combined on average, give or take, according to my research, but people like Savage Geese say that they got much worse than that. Now, all that power runs through the 7-speed torque converted automatic. I know, no dual clutch, but they did that for a reason, because there is torque on the go and it doesn't have that herky-jerky feel, and this is a true GT car, so they made that decision for that, and that 7-speed works pretty good. Now, it has to go through a 4-wheel drive system now, but it's a playful one because they use their intelligent all-wheel drive system, and it's tuned to let you have a little sports car fun. Now, we have to talk steering, because you got to go around corners. And the ProACTIVE version, as we said, unfortunately or fortunately, because it's second generation drive-by-wire steering on it. So you may want to keep that in mind, and we will talk about the feel of that later. But they still, for those enthusiasts who don't care about safety, which would be me, no, I'm just joking, but they still do offer the hydraulic steering for that base model Red Sport, which essentially is just the difference of missing those safety features. And when we're talking about steering as well, it does not have torque vectoring in the rear end to help you get around those corners. And it does, though, have these beautiful 20-inch rims, which I don't believe that BMW or Audi offer. They're 19s only. And you have these performance all-season tires on here. And we have to stop, and it has red brakes. And what do we always say? Red brakes, they must be good. Now, all joking aside, you probably recognize these. These are from the 370Z Nismo and that exciting new Z, and they work really well. They're 4-piston in the front, 2-piston in the rear with around 14-inch discs all the way around. And of course, ABS and all that good stuff and stability. Now, we also have to talk suspension, because we need to go around those corners as well, and suspension helps. So we have double wishbone in the front and multi-link in the rear, which is a nice setup for a car like this. And you're looking at around a 50-50 weight distribution. So let's talk chassis. And it uses Nissan's FM platform, which has shared that G37, exciting new Nissan Z, and the 370 we mentioned, among others. And that is because it's a 2+2 chassis with about 50-50 weight distribution, because they're able to bring that engine back off the front suspension to give you that weight distribution and allow that suspension to do what it's supposed to, which is help you get around those corners, which it does pretty well because you can do 0.9 on the skid pad, which isn't bad for a GT car. But what it also does pretty well is be quiet, because it is a GT car. So you're looking at about 73 decibels on the highway, which is pretty much in line with the other cars as well. Also, when we come to the back here, I see exhaust, 2 of them, and they sound like this. And that's because we have the performance exhaust on this. And I do not believe that Infiniti recommends attaching any active urban lifestyles to the back of your Q60 Red Sport. So now that we've taken a look at the facts, let's take a look at the feels and take it for a drive. Okay, it's time to do our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test. Like, we got a load full of camera equipment in the back. So here we go. We've got it in Sport Plus mode. Left foot on the brake. We're gonna do right foot on the gas. We got it in Sport over here. Here we go. And as you saw, that definitely felt like the 4.5 seconds that they claim. Okay, now it's time to do our emergency brake style type test, where we hope all that camera equipment doesn't end up here with me in this fancy interior. So same thing, we got it in Sport Plus mode, left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas. Here we go. Basically everything in reverse. So hopefully we stop in time. Okay, hard on the brakes. That was impressive. Better than that Jaguar, absolutely. Now it's time to do our handling test, where we try to push the car harder than we ever probably should on a normal road, but we're just on a little parking lot here. So here we go. We got it in sport mode. The adaptive dampers, harder than that corner. Turns in nice. Does feel a little chunky, but it does hold its weight better than that F-Type, I think. As you can see, that handled really well, and I personally think that it handled better than that F-Type. So when we talk styling, I really like this 2022 Q60, especially the Red Sport. It's been a long time since I took a proper look at this car, and I wish I have more, because this, I tell you, I actually, on the way to this shoot, I passed an Audi S5 and was right beside it, and they were looking at me and I was looking at them, and probably for different reasons. I think they were looking at me because they really liked what they saw, and I was looking at them thinking this really is a much better looking vehicle, and I think that of the BMW as well. I really, really like this. On the inside, equally as beautiful in here, and again, I think this is what surprised me most, to be honest with you, because I've been in a lot of really nice vehicles lately, Jaguars and Porsches and Volvos and all types of things, but this really is in line with anything that I've been in, as far as materials, as far as the diversity of them, all the different angles, and that's what we said about the Jaguar. What I did like, and what I said would age in the interior, but it would take a while, is this cockpit feel. And that's kind of sad, because all these new vehicles, as I keep teasing about, we're pretty much driving soulless IKEA living rooms around. They're all modern, minimalistic, very boring, flats everywhere, because it's better to produce, cheaper, and supposedly that's what the future is, buttonless. So anyway, but we won't get into that stuff. However, like I said, I really like that if I'm in a sports car, GT or not, this is a true sports car feel. I'm sitting nice and low. It's not as low as I would like, and we'll talk about that in a second, but you do sit nice and low. You've got your legs are nice and out straight. I've got great visibility. However, there is not that much greenhouse space in here, because the idea is you do want to feel closed in. You do want to feel like you're in a cockpit. But if you're somebody that gets a little nuts and claustrophobic, you do have this nice little sunroof here, that even when it's open like this, without being fully open, you still get the extra light in here. So you do get, a little bit more airy of a feel. What else to talk about? Well, let's talk about those seats first of all, because they're amazing. But when we talked about how they don't go as low as I would like in a sports car like this, I think it is because it is a GT car. And my BRZ does sit lower than this, but I also eliminate any adult from sitting back there, even though there's a fair amount of leg room in my car within reason, because you can't stick your toes underneath the seat. However, this one here, it looks like Infiniti's made the decision to say, hey, we're only going to let it go down so far so people can still stick their toes underneath there if they really but these seats are awesome, right in line with that Jaguar F-Type as far as looks, as far as comfort. Doesn't have as much movement in the seats, but I mean, it's plenty. And one thing that I do like I'm a smaller person, I'm only 5'7", 150 pounds, and these bolsters here you can make go in or out, so if you want a hug, you can get a hug. Lots of movement, things like that. If you're an old person like me, it's got lumbar and also memory in case you have multiple drivers, and they got different leg lengths. And as far as that goes as well, you've got the steering wheel. I really like the actual physical steering wheel itself. I talk all the time about these SUVs and unfortunately some sportier cars that have school bussy steering wheels. Drives me bonkers. This is nice. It's a good diameter. It's a good angle. Not that school bus angle. And here, it's nice. Sometimes BMWs and things are really thick. I like this. It's not too thick. It's just perfect. I really like it. I like that it still has physical buttons here, but it's a good choice. They don't look cheap by any means. I think they actually look better than half these haptic feedback buttons. And basically on the right side here, you can work your safety features. You can turn them off and on, cruise control, things like that, and go through the middle screens here, which we'll show in a second. And then on the left side here, basically you're going to work your phone, your voice control, volume up and down, things like that. So it's very intuitive. It's nice to have. And when we're talking about inputs, well, let's talk about these paddles, because we have that 7-speed torque converter automatic. Now, I think it's the right choice for this. I do like the dual clutch. I have a dual clutch in my GTI, but it is herky-jerky at low speeds, and that's not great, especially if you're paying a lot of money. You don't want to spill the coffee all over the place in a car like this. These paddle shifters aren't bad. They're a little plasticky, but that's the same with the Jaguar. Anything in this price class, pretty much. And I do like that they're a little bit bigger. Like my GTI's just got little buttons. These are actually nice, so they look nice. And when you're going up and down gears, the actual pushing in of them feels pretty good, a lot better than that Jaguar. Transmission is a little bit slow to react, as you heard on that downshift. But again, this is not really marketed to be a track weapon. It's really got, with the torque converter, some nice gusto off the line, about 4.5 seconds, but even when you're not doing a launch. And it's pretty smooth. You know, a few years ago, it would have been an amazing transmission just with the PDKs and your ZFs and all of these transmissions that are really stepping it up. You know, when you're looking at that, it's not the best, but like I said, a few years ago, this is fine. And with that being said, a lot of things in this car are going to age, and especially the infotainment. They have done some nice updates, and I have to say that when I see it in person here, it does look a lot better than what I was expecting. I don't really care about the two screens. That doesn't bother me. What I care about is the difference between screens, and similar to the Jaguar that we did, there's a huge difference. You've got multiple screens. One looks like my 2015 GTI, and another one looks like it's coming out of a brand new Audi. And Audi does a really good job on these screens. That's why I'm using that as a reference. So, you know, that's similar here. This looks very old up here, but this here looks a lot more modern. But I have to say, both are easy to use. They're quite responsive, and I like that there's multiple different things that you can do. So you can use your fingers here, very much like your cell phone. And I said it was intuitive and worked well, but it's not right now, but it was earlier. So there you go. But you can also use this dial down here, which is kind of nice. So some people like doing a touch screen. I'm a touch screen type person. Other people like to do this here with this conventional knob, and it's a beautiful knob, feels good to the hand, like all the switch gear in here. Really, it's high-end, feels really good. But what I want to get back to is with the steering wheel, because of course this has, with the ProACTIVE that I'm driving today, the second generation of that drive-by-wire. To be perfectly honest with you, I've heard all kinds of things preparing for this video, and I was really on the fence. I forgot. when I picked up the car. Once I got driving it, I totally forgot. It feels like every other electric rack out there. It's a little numb, things like that. One thing that I do have to say, compared to a lot of the reviewers out there, which I do agree with, when you're just kind of cruising along like I am here at not like the fastest speed in the world, it's a little unnerving. You can feel it a little bit, like not too much. You can just feel a little bit of it trying to do its own thing, and it's strange. But when you're just driving and you're going along and you're doing turns and things like that, to me it just feels like any other electric steering, which is just what, like these paddles, it's just what we get nowadays. And the actual sound system itself, I'm not really into music a lot when it comes to that type of thing, and I'm not going to be able to give you a good review as far as that goes, other than to say I have ears, and it does have the upgraded Bose performance system. I believe 13 speakers, something like that. Anyway, nonetheless, it does sound really, really good. I like it. Some of the vehicles now that I'm testing, it sounds as good or better than anything I've been in for any price so far, including a Porsche Taycan and things like that. So yeah, if you're into it, I don't think you would be disappointed. It sounds pretty good. And I tell you what, my favorite station is, and that's this exhaust. You have this performance exhaust here, which sounds amazing. And what you also have is performance intakes on this twin turbocharged 3-liter V6 engine. That's that you hear. It's actually really, really well done. This car has a lot of theater like that Jaguar, which to me is surprising, because this, even though the Jaguar is going for luxury as well, this really is going for luxury, because the Jaguar still has a lot of that racing heritage. But I'm telling you, this thing is a lot of fun, and it sounds the part as well. And when we're talking gauges in here, no, it's got older style gauges, but that's what I like, and I'm super glad. My BRZ, I purposely bought a 2020 because I wanted the analog gauges, but you know, I still live in a modern world, so it's nice to have this extra information here, which you can scroll through, as we said, with these buttons. The climate control, and again, you've got your hard buttons here. I personally don't think that they're going to age that quickly, because they've chose nice looking buttons and they've kind of hidden them on the column here. It's really well done. It really is. I thought that this point was going to bother me the most when I got in here, but it's not the best, but it's not bothering me like I thought it would, that's for sure. And yeah, so you can work that through here, you know, your temperature, your seats, your fan. But of course, you've got this hard button here that if you want to do it here on the screen, and this one is intuitive, and this one is seeming to work a little bit better than that top screen was, which still doesn't want to zoom in and out for me. Anyway, but down here, yeah, and one thing to point out in these Canadian, or if you're in other colder climates, you've got your heated steering wheel there as well, and of course your heated seats and all your other stuff that you can work. Other practical features in here, yeah, you do have cup holders in the door, or just storage bins in general, which, you know, for a car like this are pretty good. What else? You have 2 cup holders here, and again, they're pretty small, but they hold like a normal small, like 500 milliliter type bottle of whatever you're drinking there. And they've got these little things to help keep it in, depending on the size of the bottle, to help tighten it up, which is nice. In here, you do have a fair amount of space. And I do like how the armrest feels when it's down. It's ergonomic. But yeah, when this is open, you do have USB and USB-C. It's felt line, and you do have a 12-volt plug-in as well. Your glove compartment here, I haven't tested to see what I could actually fit in here. Like some people like to know if you can fit a tablet or a computer to hide it. I'm not sure. It's got a lock on it. I don't know how much you could fit in there. It looks like a normal, like my BRZ. It's a small sports car, right? Like you're only going to put so much in there, but it is nice that it's lockable. What else in here for practical features? Well, really, when we're talking about practicality, just the fact that you have back seats. And again, not to keep talking about my BRZ, but it's very similar in the sense of I bought that car to be a fun second car because I have a son, and we couldn't afford, say, a Mazda Miata or something just to have for fun, or a Cayman, where we couldn't also bring him. So I believe that these seats would be even better than my BRZ, for the fact that you could also put adults back here because of that situation with the seats that I was saying, where you still have some toe room. Because as you can see, the ergonomics is, you know, You got to be a little spry to get in and out of the back, what you do for any small coupe like this, but it wasn't that bad. The only irritating thing was, as a passenger, I couldn't really figure out how to bring that seat back well myself. I could pull up the upright, but I couldn't slide it back, so you got to kind of wait, and because it's power, it's not the fastest. I'm only 5'7", so as you can see, there's not a lot of headroom back there, but again, you're probably not sticking adults back there, and if you are, it's just to run to lunch or something in a pinch. Most likely you're going to use the car for storage, and as you can see, you've got it's not 60-40 split like most cars, because it's the small coupe, much like my BRZ. It's just one and done. That's it. You put that whole seat down, and that's fine, because you're probably not having people and cargo at the same time. So that is really nice and handy. And as you can see, with that seat down, there is a fair amount of space, but to be honest, when you're just using the trunk alone, I was quite surprised that you're less than 10 cubic feet of storage, which is pretty small. As a reference point, it's even smaller than the Jag and the Corvette, although the Corvette's kind of known for being able to put golf clubs and things like that, even the new C8. But still, it's not enough to hamper you. You can still definitely use the car, but you're not going to be doing Home Depot runs or anything other than just using this car in a pinch back there. But I was surprised. You got little tie-down things. It's nice handle to be able to pull down the trunk. I like the way that they've hidden the little button for the trunk inside the light there. Yeah, all in all, it's a very usable, very practical. Like I said, this is basically my BRZ, but about 1,000,000 times nicer. Yeah, it's a great car, which leads me to my final thoughts. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out one of our other enthusiast reviews, like on the 2022 Jaguar F-Type, so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review on a Volvo V90. And if you already have subscribed, thank you for your support. Now, we started off this review by looking to see if nostalgia could overcome an aging platform and the ever-increasing performance of those pesky German rivals. And we used these facts and feels to come up with this final thought, which is, if you have fallen in love with these gorgeous looks, you like a comfortable ride and something that still has a little zip off the line, then I don't think that you can go wrong with the 2022 Q60 Red Sport. However, if you are an enthusiast at heart and you remember the good old days of that G37 and you want to put down some serious lap times, I think you may be disappointed. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.